All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful technologies shaping the modern web, ReactJS. We're going to get into exactly what makes our favorite apps feel so, incredibly fast and responsive. I mean, think about it. You're scrolling through your Instagram feed or you're browsing for a movie on Netflix. There's almost zero lag, right? Pages load instantly, new content just appears, and the whole experience feels, well, it feels smooth. Have you ever just stopped and wondered, how do they even do that? Well, for many of these tech giants, the secret sauce is a powerful tool called React. It's really the engine under the hood that's delivering that snappy, lightning-fast user experience we've all come to expect. And to really appreciate its genius, we've got to go back to the beginning. So let's rewind the clock to the early 2010s. Facebook, even back then, had a massive problem. And believe me, it was getting worse every single day. Their main feature, the newsfeed, was becoming super slow and clunky, a real headache. Yeah, back in 2010, every time the newsfeed needed to update, it was this slow, painful process for their entire system. So in 2011, an engineer there named Jordan Waka built this internal prototype to fix it. And guess what? It worked so well that by 2013, Facebook decided to release it to the world as the open source project we all know and love today, as ReactJS. So what exactly was this magic trick? I mean, how did React solve a problem that was bogging down one of the biggest websites on the planet? Well, the answer lies in how it handles something called the DOM. Okay, stick with me here. Every single web page you visit has a blueprint, a kind of structure, that tells the browser what to display and where to put it. This is called the document object model, or DOM for short. Just think of it like a big tree, where every single element, every button, every picture, every piece of text is its own branch. Now, the old way of updating this tree was, to put it lightly, not very efficient. And right here, this is the core innovation. This is the big shift. With the traditional way, if you change just one tiny thing, like hitting like on a single comment, the browser had to reload and redraw the entire page. It was incredibly slow and inefficient. But React introduced something revolutionary called the virtual DOM, which is a much, much smarter way to do things. So instead of messing with the real heavy web page directly, React works on a super lightweight copy in the background. When something changes, it first updates this virtual copy. Then it does a quick comparison to see what's different from the real one, and it surgically updates only the specific part that changed. It doesn't rebuild the whole page, just that one tiny piece. That is the secret to its incredible speed. Okay, so this brings up something that kind of trips a lot of people up. You often hear React mentioned in the same breath as tools like Angular, and you might assume it's the same kind of thing, but there's a really key difference we need to understand. It's a simple sentence, but the distinction is actually huge. React is a library, and getting what that means is the key to understanding its power and its flexibility. And, the best way to get it? Let's talk about food. A framework is kind of like hostile food. You get what you're given, you have to follow a strict menu and a set of rules. But a library, like React, that's like home-cooked food. You have total freedom and control, you get to choose your own ingredients and build exactly what you want, creating the perfect meal, or in this case, the perfect application. So how does React actually give you all this freedom? Well, it's all about its core philosophy, building everything out of small, reusable pieces called components. Just picture an Instagram post for a second. Everything you see and interact with is its own self-contained component. That like button, that's a component. The comment field, that's another one. Each one is like its own little machine with its own logic and its own look. And this is where it gets really powerful. You can reuse that like button component anywhere you want in your app, and if you need to update how it looks, like when they added that cool little heart animation, you only have to edit that one component. You don't have to worry about breaking the rest of the page. It just makes building complex apps so much simpler. So we've gone through the history and the tech, which is cool. But let's get to the most important part. Why should you care about any of this? Well, the simple answer is that React is absolutely everywhere. This isn't some niche, obscure tool. It's the technology that powers the user interfaces of the biggest companies in the world. Learning React literally means you're learning to speak the language that these industry giants are speaking. And speaking their language is very, very valuable. In India, for example, the average starting salary for a developer who knows React is somewhere between 6 to 10 lakhs per annum. That is a fantastic way to get your foot in the door of the tech industry. And it doesn't just stop there. The potential for growth is huge. As you get more experience and become a senior developer, that number can climb as high as 25 LPA or maybe even more. The demand for skilled React developers is massive, and it just keeps on growing. So if you're feeling inspired right now, here's the basic roadmap. You don't just jump straight into React. First, you need a solid foundation with the basics of the web. That's HTML for structure and CSS for styling. Then, you've got to master the language React is actually built on, JavaScript. Once you have those skills down, you'll be ready to start building some amazing things with React itself.
So, look at that. We started with a nagging problem at Facebook, and we've ended up at a potential career path that could seriously change your life. We've seen how one really clever idea, the virtual DOM, completely revolutionized web development, creating the fast, fluid experiences we pretty much take for granted now. The only question left is, what are you going to build with it?